Welcome to the Unveiling Shadows podcast. I'm your host, Kimberly Mosby. Join me as I dive into powerful stories of resilience and strength. In each episode, I sit down with guests who have faced similar journeys of coercive control, financial manipulation, and personal invasion. Together, we uncover the shadows, share our experiences, and inspire others to reclaim their lives. Tune in, listen, and be a part of the community that stands tall against the forces that seek to control us. Thank you for joining me at Unveiling Shadows podcast. I would like to speak about asset stripping. So when you are a TI, you are being tortured, right? So you own real property, like real estate, and you can't wait to get out of that place to escape so badly that you list it with an agent, and you end up selling it for less profit than what you could get otherwise because you just want to get out of the situation and make it go away. Even though it doesn't make it go away, it follows you because obviously with the mind control MK Ultra, voice to skull, remote viewing and monitoring technology that they have today, you can run, but you cannot hide. So that happened to me. I ended up selling my condominium, and then obviously you'll own nothing and be happy. You'll rent a place that is equivalent, if not more, in rent, and so you're paying more monthly, right? So that's part of the asset stripping process. Another part of their process is to have you do something illegal so that they can incarcerate you, have you make bail. And then when you go to courts, you're going to have to pay a fine, and then you're going to have to pay for 90% of the fine that you just paid when you go to your first hearing. Like, it's the amount of sick and twisted stuff that these people do is ridiculous. When I moved from the place that I owned into the apartment that I'm moving out of, which I've only been there a year, I did an internet search, which they own the internet. So I looked for a company that could move me fast. Well, with that, they'll bring you one that sounds really good, and then it will cost you $3,000. At least that's what it cost me. Well, and the reason that I did that is because at that point in time, I didn't know who I could trust because everybody was turning against me. I didn't know who was friend, who was foe, who I could trust to even be in my home helping me. Another way that they asset strip you is through subscriptions. I'm not talking about supporting someone that's another targeted individual on their social media platforms. That's different. I'm talking about like heating and air, how they'll be like, oh, you can have a membership to fix your heater that just went out or your air conditioner that just went out. So my AC went out 3 times in a 2-month period when I owned my condominium. That's another way that they asset strip you. They dismantle your life piece by piece, emotionally and financially, one way or another. So when I was going through this process, I was served a subpoena from my ex-parents because I will never talk to them again. And I had to obtain legal counsel, which is also another way that they can asset strip you. So they commissioned me to have me institutionalized against my will for 360 days. That's correct, almost a full year. They could not get me into the mental institution because at the first hearing, the commissioner said, well, you're obviously not here for mental health issues. You're here for drug addiction. And I looked at the commissioner and I said, well, I guess it's whatever you want it to be at this point. Like, I'm just a cog in your financial system to strip money from people and break them down mentally and emotionally, or you wipe out their assets so much that they end up homeless and then they're in your institution too. So if you think of anything that revolves around the name institution, they can incarcerate you into an institution. And if you don't want to be incarcerated, you're going to pay a debt. So that would be bail. And then you're going to pay an attorney if you can afford one. If not, you'll be given a public defender probably. And you're still going to have to pay a fine. They will make you make bad choices to feed their system of abuse and power. I don't know how to stop it. I'm just trying to explain from my perspective how they were asset stripping me. If they would have been able to get me put away in a mental institution, then my adult children working for me at the time could then have been granted executor of my estate by the courts, and they could have sold off my real estate, my business. They could have taken over. I wouldn't have had a pot to piss in. And I don't think that any of this is okay, which is why I decided to start speaking out against it and say I'm not alone. There are many targeted individuals that can tell you their story, how they were so giving, and then you have these perps that come in and you're trying to help them out. You end up the one that doesn't have any money because you're too kind. So I am here I'm here as an advocate for you to say you don't have to be nice to anyone else but yourself. You cover your ass first, and then when you're on solid footing and solid ground, if you feel like helping someone, then do. But if not, and you're still teetering in the position where you're fighting for your livelihood and you're fighting for your life and you're fighting for your financial stability, then that's an issue. You need to take care of yourself first, basically, is what I learned. And I would give, someone the shirt off my back. But then at the same time, in order to help people, I had to stop and revamp some things to be able to continue to present this information to you the best that I can for the best of my ability, because it's all a system. So if you don't have health insurance and then you go into the hospital, if they try to institutionalize you, then your insurance is going to pay for it. And then you're stuck being silenced, right? And that's the main goal. If they can rid you of your finances, they can strip you of your decency by telling rumors about you when people aren't even coming to you to speak directly about what's going on. They're just being mind controlled. And I think that a lot of TIs need to realize that too. Those people that are turning against you on a dime are also being mind controlled in order to isolate you. So it's a very wicked game. My friend on the phone today said it's going to turn into a Hunger Game, and I said it already is a Hunger Game. And they're watching you, remote viewing you, watching you crash and burn while laughing at you at the same time. And I will not STF you. And I know completely what's going on, and it needs to stop. I just don't know how to help people to get it to stop, other than speaking out and using my voice. And I hope I encourage other people to start speaking out. I've sent cease and desist letters to the Fusion Center here. When it first started happening, I called the FBI federally and went down to see them locally. And a few months ago, I took my case up to the Department of Justice. And there is no branch in the system at this point in time, including the police or the cops or any of their programs or any of their community approach programs that will save us. The only people that are going to save us will be us. So use your voice, stay strong, and have the courage to speak up. If you don't have privacy, you don't have freedom. We're basically slaves. So, you got this.
Thank you for listening to the Unveiling Shadows podcast. I hope today's episode has shed light on the experiences that too often remain hidden. If you or someone you know has a story to share, please reach out to me. Remember, you're not alone and your voice matters. Follow me on social media and subscribe to the podcast for more inspiring stories. Until next time, stay strong and keep unveiling the shadows.